Stream. Come on up here. I've pressed the page twice now. Yeah, it is live. Why is it not appearing? Also, the grill will turn off in a minute. It's just finishing off some sausages. Come on, this is taking ages. What is up with Facebook today? Alright, I'll have to come back to it later because the software tells me I'm live. And I can see someone's watching. Come say hi, especially if you're on Facebook. Let me know that you can see me. Oh, there we go. I can see my video now. That took a while. Okay. One group. And now the members. Hi Jane, how are you? Right. Finally, it's been shared into both videos. Okay, so let's move that over here for a minute. So I'm making the I'm making the mixed spice cake, or winter spice cake. It's mixed spice cake in the FFS cookbook. It's winter spice cake on the website. It's the same thing. It's got two different names. It depends on whether you class mixed spices or winter spice, because we do. It's the Christmas spice. So I'm going to do this slightly differently because there is no almond butter anywhere near us. Can't find any. So I'm coming up with an alternative that doesn't use peanut butter, although I have got it on standby if for some reason the entire mix goes horrendously wrong. But I'm going to try it with this anyway and go through till the end. That was just the last resort. The reason why I don't want to use peanut butter is it's quite a lot, so it might be quite a strong taste. And also, Louis is allergic to peanuts, so he won't be able to have this cake. So I'm coming up with an alternative. I'm being a good sister. So I had a bag of mixed nuts, which I've now chucked away the bag. It's from Waitrose. And it actually didn't include any peanuts. Normally, when you get a bag of mixed nuts from like Tesco or somewhere, it's bulked out peanuts. This one was hazelnut, got walnuts, pecans, shush, Brazils, and almonds. Now, I wouldn't usually use this to make a nut butter, purely because they have the skins on still. So what I'm just doing now, they've been roasting in the Ninja Foodi at 190 for 10 minutes. So now I'm just peeling off the skins of the hazelnuts, so you can see how pale it is now, or nice and roasted compared to the dark skins. So I've taken the skins off the hazelnuts. Those are the easiest things to do, and that's why making hazelnut butter at home tends to be the easiest one to make. It's the quickest to break down and have an oil. It tastes the best in my opinion. Although I have tried to make almond butter before, and it has kind of worked, but I can't get the skins off, which means it can just be a bit sort of dark, a bit musty. But I don't think it should matter too much in this cake because it's being flavoured with other stuff as well. So I'm not using it, I'm not making it as a spread. It doesn't need to be a really runny sort of nut butter spread like the 100% peanut butter over there. I just need to have a similar sort of consistency. So that's what we're going for. I'm going to see how much I get out of it. I'll probably need, the recipe calls for 210 grams of 100% almond butter. And I'm going to make my own. And when you make your own, you add a little bit of oil in as well. Although I'm not actually sure which. Oh no, I think I've got cooking coconut oil in there. We'll see. So if I end up with like maybe 180, 190 grams of nuts, that should make the whole batch. But we'll see. So I'm just taking off the skins of the hazelnuts. That's pretty much it, really. Bit one more there. Hi Dan. Hi Kathy. I might have already said hello to Kathy. If I have, then hello again. The other ones, they're just nicely roasted, give it a good flavour. There's nothing on them. There was no oil. There was no sweetener. You can do that if you want, but I'm adding in a sweetener as I'm blitzing them up, so it wasn't needed to roast. So we're going properly from scratch then today. Here we go, last one. So we have our roasted hazelnuts, Brazils, pecans, walnuts, and almonds. As I said, if you're going to make this at home and this is your first attempt, go for just plain hazelnuts and the ones without skins, because it's going to be a lot easier to do, especially on the first go. I've got my little food processor plugged into the back. So let's see how much we have. Just not getting the skins in, that's why I'm sort of handfuls at a time. How much do we need? Might just have enough. It might be a slightly smaller cake. 150 now. Let's have a look. See how close I can get. As long as I'm within like 20 grams, I'm sure it'll be fine. I have another alternative as well, so I'm really very loosely following the recipe today. Alright, so we have 166 grams of roasted nuts. So I'm going to blitz these down for a few seconds first, and then we're going to add some sort of oil. Now I might just add butter because it's going in a cake. It doesn't need to be long life. Oh no, here we go. I've got some of this. That's my preferred one. Right, so we have some coconut oil. This is the flavoured stuff, but I'm not going to need a lot of it. And I'm not going to bother melting it because the nuts are really warm anyway, so they're going to heat up nicely. It's always best if you're roasting them, blitz them down when they're still warm, because it'll make life a lot easier. So we're going to blitz first. Alright. So there's step one. It started to stick to the sides. It smells amazing. But it started to stick to the sides. It started to break down. Now I'm going to add in the coconut oil. This will be about 20 grams, I reckon. You basically just want to add enough that you get a sort of runnier consistency, and it helps the like if I was using hazelnuts, this is my usual method, it would help the hazelnuts break down. They are one of the easiest ones to work with for this, so we'll see how much we need to add for this mixed bag. As I said, this would be a lot easier if your local store just had almond butter in, but it's not been in all week. Wow. I can't believe that's worked so quickly. Hi Miriam, how are you? Okay, so we have exactly what I was wanting, which is great. It took 2 goes. So the first blitz was just to get it like ground almond sort of consistency. And because it was warm, it was starting to stick together and sort of cling to the sides. You can hear the blades weren't really spinning around much. The next go, I added some coconut oil. You can use unflavoured if you want to. Just this is the only one we have in the cupboard at the moment, so that's what I used. And it was 15 grams to 166 grams of roasted nuts. You basically just go by eye. It's about 1 big spoon. If you wanted to make your own hazelnut butter or other nut butter, then there is a recipe on the website. So you don't need to be taking notes of what I'm saying because it's all there written for you. But essentially, the consistency I was after is that. You see how it's like runny almond butter. So it's not completely smooth, but it's also not crunchy in the way that if you were to get crunchy almond or peanut butter in the supermarket, it's not got chunks in. But this is exactly what I was looking for, and that is a wonderful start. Hi, Mary. Yes, I am experimenting. So, 2 changes today. The mixed spice cake. It's a very simple recipe, and it was based on the almond butter bread recipe, which is why we're using a nut butter. But we made it sweet. Almond butter bread is already a bit sweet, but we made this into like a sweet cake. Hang on, before I do that, let's get the apples chopped up. I can talk and chop apples because this is the next step. 2 changes I'm doing. One was swapping the almond butter for a homemade nut butter, just because that was all we couldn't find almond butter in the supermarkets at all this week. I've looked everywhere, and I didn't want to use peanut butter. We do have some of that in, just because Louis is allergic. So I wanted to make this cake something that we could all eat. The other swap is this. So when we first did this recipe, this is definitely a low carb rather than keto recipe because it uses 40 grams of dates. In the whole cake, it's only 40 grams of dates. So this makes 12 small slices, so spread that across. It's not an awful lot. And what the dates did is it gave it a sort of sticky, like heavy, dense cake texture, if that makes sense. So I'm trying to replicate that using cooking apples because I think it just needs some sort of cooked down fruit. And cooking apples are around 4 to 8 grams of carbs per 100. These ones in particular are very, very tart. All I'm doing is I'm chopping them down really, really small because I want to cook them down to sort of just make them into a bit of a mush. The dates get blitzed down into a puree with a little bit of hot water. These will need cooking down a little bit first. And I've got this pan, so hopefully you can see what's happening. I'm going to cook the whole apple down. I only need a small amount. I'm only going to use, I might use 70 grams total. So the original recipe says 40 grams of dates, blitzed down with 30 mils of hot water to create a paste. So I'm going to obviously account the water in this. So yeah, obviously this is if it works, this will be a lot more useful because if the whole house is low carb, you probably don't have dates in, and when you only need 40 grams, sometimes you're left with just the rest of a packet to do whatever you want with. So these cooking apples, you can make them into a crumble, mix them into a jam, whatever you want. My other idea actually was, if these don't cook down well enough, I'm not happy. I have got some jam in the. I know what I've got. I might halve it now. I've just had a really good idea. Let me check that I've got it in the fridge before I say it. 1 second. Let's finish chopping the apples. I'll leave you in suspense for a few minutes. Bear with me. So the apples are getting chopped up really, really small. I need that pie. I need these cooking down. How was Black Panther? It was brilliant. Stunning film. It was great. A great tribute to Chadwick. And then, all in all, just a great film as well. Is there a chance that Louis is the reason for the almond butter shortage locally? Probably. Oh, Sue's already guessed it. Yeah. I have just thought, why don't I use the festive filling? Because it's exactly the sort of thing that would go with this cake anyway. And we have some in the fridge that's already cooked down. I'll save this apple specifically for this recipe, so I'm not making a waste just by cooking down this whole apple. But yeah, now I'm thinking, do I use that as well? So the festive filling is the one that we just launched over on the Key to Roma website. And that is a combination of cooking apple, cranberries, and grated courgette. It's cooked down. It's got some spices added to it. It's got some nuts added to it for a bit of added texture. Got some sweetness in it, and a little bit of cocoa powder as well, just for colour, not for taste. You can't taste it, and it also thickens it a little bit as well. It's a really, really, really tasty filling, and we have some in the fridge. But yeah, I'm chopping this up really, really small so that hopefully it cooks down rather quickly, because I don't want you to just be watching me cook apples for half an hour. But yeah, don't worry. I know Sue's already asked me. I won't have any spoilers for Black Panther. Me and Louis went to watch it yesterday. I need to drag Dad to the cinema to go and watch it as well, because it is such a good film. I don't know when it's going to be on Disney Plus, actually. So, how is everyone? Are we all okay? These are a bit chunky. I'm just going to randomly cut them up. There's no method to this. I just want them nice and small. Almost there. I did debate, do I prep this before the live? But I thought, well, if I did everything before the live, then the live would just be mixing everything in a bowl, and we wouldn't really have much time to do anything else. It'd just be a really quick live. So I decided against it. Let's get a spatula. I might add some water if needed. I can sort of smell them maybe a little bit too golden on the bottom, but that's fine. They'll cook down quicker. To be fair, I'll just get a... Actually, they're cooking down quite nicely already. Let's get a lid. Turn the heat down just while I do this last little bit. So this recipe is quite a weird one because there's no flour. And I have had questions in the past going, is the recipe right? Because I can't see anywhere for ground almonds or coconut flour or anything. And yeah, there's no flour in it. And same with the almond butter bread recipe. So we're using almond butter as the base, or homemade nut butter in today's case. And then the only other really sort of the dry ingredient is chia seeds, but there's only 10 grams. So it's almond butter mixed with some eggs, mixed with the usually cooked down dates, which we're experimenting with cooked down apple now. And what else? Almond butter, eggs, dates. Oh yeah, so the bicarb. So that's the other sort of weird thing about this recipe. There's no baking powder. We're using bicarbonate of soda, and we are making it react with some lemon juice, which helps create a bit of a rise. But this isn't a very tall cake. This is a dense cake. It sort of sinks down a little bit more. Right, we've got some water there. All right, pour some more water on top. Let's get the last of this apple in. Yeah, the kitchen does smell lovely at the moment. Right, I'm going to add some water. Not that this pan needs it. Right, it means I can turn the heat up a little bit more. So it's already, I think you can see, there's a pop-up that won't go away. It's like a right-click glitch on the computer, so I can't actually see the colour of the pan. Let me move it over here so I can see. Yeah, you can see the colour change. It's sort of squishing down nicely, which is just what I want. I might actually, oh wait, it does smell good now. I might actually blitz this straight in with the almond butter. That might be a good idea. Is this a tea and cake or a warm cake with custard? I would say warm cake with custard. Yeah. I mean, I have either. I very rarely have custard. I just have it on its own. Or with Greek yogurt. That's my favourite with this. So you can sort of see the change in the colour. Let me get it here. And it's sort of mushing down. I've left the skins on, obviously. But you can always take them off if you want. All right. Festive filling. Now, I might... here it is. So this is the new launch over on the Ketoroma website. It comes in these tubs as well. Wow, it smells so good. So it's I'm sorry, I'm not gonna be able to get the camera to focus. Unless I put it there. Has that focused? I think it has. Cooked down apples, cranberries, courgettes, with obviously the usual sort of Christmassy spices, and it's got some walnuts, pecans in there, some sweetener, and a little bit of cocoa powder to help with the colour. Now, there are two ways of going about this. I'm going to turn the heat right down now because it's almost done. In fact, it probably is. It's cooked down enough. It's going to get blitzed down again. Let's turn that off. That was nice and quick. Shows what blitzing it down into tiny chunks does. Do I go half and half and just make one sponge? Yeah, I don't even know what I'm asking. That's what I'm going to do. Because I only have one space to cook it in the foodie. So we're going to do one cake. And we're going to do it half and half because I think that's going to really add to some sort of colour. But we have this cooked down as well, which I reckon would work perfectly. So yeah, we're going to do half and half. So we're going to be replacing the 40 grams of dates blended down with 30 mils of hot water. So I need 70 grams total. So we're going to add 35 of each. So I'm going to... Let's get rid of the almond butter first because I can blitz those two together. So I'm going to put the almond butter in the bowl. This is basically mix it all together sort of job, but we're just making it a bit more long-winded by experimenting with some alternatives. That's a really good colour, I have to say. This looks like store-bought almond butter. Doesn't smell like it because it's a mixture of nuts. It kind of smells like, well, it smells like hazelnuts more than anything. They're quite a strong smell. And roasting them is definitely a good shout. I wouldn't do this without roasting them. Okay. Still got some scraps in, but it'll get picked up. The dogs again. Up in their own world. Okay. So, we want 35 grams of the festive filling. Could you use peanut butter instead of almonds? I don't know, Sue. I've never tried it because Louis wouldn't be able to eat. Oh, let me put the blaze in. Louis wouldn't be able to eat it. I don't see why it wouldn't work on a literal texture level. I'm sure it would achieve the same result. The only thing I'd be curious about is how it tastes. But if you want to, give it a go and let me know. There you go, 35 grams. Someone tried to make the almond butter bread before with peanut butter and they said it wasn't very nice because it was too strong. But again, that was a bread rather than a cake. So I think it would work more in the cake than the bread, but I don't know whether it would work enough. It's a very long-winded answer, but there you go. Cooked down apple. I haven't added any sweetness to that, so it's not going to be very sweet at all. 1 second, I've got a bot. Hang on. Go away. blocked. Okay, it's very satisfying doing that. Right, I'm going to blitz that down. Only for a few seconds. That's good enough. It's still lumpy because it's not a very large amount, so the blades don't really catch it all, but it's good enough. So, I'm going to add this to the pot as well. And I should probably look at the instructions now before I do something else. So far, I'm not following them at all. Let's have a look. Stir the almond butter in the jar to combine any oil on top. Don't need to do that because I made it fresh. In a bowl, mix the almond butter and eggs together. Right, we've missed that step, so we'll add the eggs in now. I told you, Sue, this is a real wing it session. I'm trying to get all the scraps out. Wing it Sunday. That's funny. Miriam and Sue have both said that, but you're on different channels. You can't see that each other have both said the same thing. All right, the colours in this. Oh my god, this is going to be such a cool. It's going to be like a caramel coloured cake. It's going to be great. There you go. Look at the colours of that. Yummy. Right, I'm going to add the eggs in now. I am astounded at how well that nut butter's turned out because making homemade almond butter at home has never turned out well for me. But I think it's just the combination of the different ones. So the hazelnuts in there are definitely a good show. They always are. Right, 2 eggs. As I said, we're a little bit low on the nut butter, but I don't think it will matter much. We're probably like 10 grams short. We're winging it, so. All right, eggs are in. Okay. Then add the blended dates, chia seeds, bicarbonate of soda, mixed spice and sweetener, mixed with the almond butter and eggs. So we've already added in the blended dates, which is cooked down apples. And if the cooked down apples work, and obviously we've got the festive pie filling in there as well, I reckon you could swap this for jam, as in homemade jam, just cooked down fruit. I think it's just, the dates, I can understand why they would be the superior choice because they do have that really sort of like sticky sort of texture when you blend them down, but that's obviously because of the high sugar content. So I reckon we'll still get a good texture using cooked down fruit. And I think the nut butter does most of the job as well. Right, I've mixed that in as best as I can. And now basically to add everything else. So we need chia seeds. So 10 grams of chia seeds, whole or milled. I think I've got whole. Can't find it. Yeah. So this is the only real dry ingredient. But they absorb a lot of the moisture. They kind of help it hold together. 1.5 teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda. So make sure you're using the bicarb, not baking powder. We need this, the soda. I don't know. I think it is it's baking powder that's a combination of bicarb and something else, isn't it? I think cream of tartar. But just use the bicarb. Save yourself a hassle. 1.5 teaspoons. So let's make that up to 7 grams. And sweetener. Now, because, again, another swap, because we're not using the dates and we want that sort of caramelized taste, I'm using the golden sweetener. So this is the golden sweetener blend on the Ketoroma website, but I know some stevia and erythritol brands in the supermarkets do this as well. Those ones add a little bit of molasses in, but it's not an awful lot, so I would still use that one. This one doesn't though. It's just monk fruit and erythritol. I've added in a little bit more. I've added 20 grams instead of 15. I can add more if needed. I'm going to mix that in. And the final part is lemon juice. Now, this is what we want the bicarb to react to. So it should create a bit of a froth. So we've got the mix now. It basically just looks like a bulked out almond butter, because that's what it is. Yeah, so I mean, obviously it'll work with the white sweetener, you know, the standard sweetener, but I think the golden one will just give it that much of an edge. I also brought home some vanilla essence for the bakery, but I'm not going to add it yet because the recipe hasn't asked for it. And I want to see, I'm sure I got lemon juice out. Where did I put it? I want to see if it works without the vanilla first, but I'll taste the mix before we put it in the tub. No, I didn't. So 25 mils of lemon juice. So hopefully, that's all. Cross our fingers. This will froth. Yes, it has. Can you see the froth there? That's the reaction that you want. You can hear it as well. I should have probably preheated the Ninja. I'll do that now. Okay, I don't need that rack anymore. I want the small one. If I remember right, this is quite. Oh no, it is. It's 180. So I'll set the Ninja Foodi to 170 on bake. And what tin do we have available? Let's have a look. I don't want to use. Maybe it can work. Maybe it's a bit big. Let's have a look. Oh. Okay, I've got two options because my usual springform cake tin, I don't know where the base has got, so we won't use that. I've got two options, one rather large one and one rather small one. Don't want to add it yet as the recipe hasn't asked for it. What, Miriam? I mean, I'm just winging it. It's fine. This might be a bit big. This might be a bit too small. We'll go with that one. We'll go with that one. So the mix has almost not doubled in volume, but it's got a lot bigger. Let's give it a taste and let's see if we need to add some more sweetener or some more vanilla. I don't know. That tastes so good. I'm well impressed. Wow. Okay. Some of this grease proof doesn't work. So I'm just trying to figure out which one is it. Do I go for it? Let's check that picture off first. Let's do it. Yeah, actually, good idea, Sue. I'll grease it as well. I'm not going to grease the tin. I'm going to grease the paper in case I've picked the wrong paper. I don't know why we have this if it doesn't work. I think it came home from the bakery because it doesn't work. Louis made a pizza last week using 20% fat mince, and it's still stuck to the paper. So I want us all to hope that you don't need to worry and that this grease proof is grease proof. All I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of fold down the corners so that you probably heard me say this a load of times. If you're baking in the Ninja Foodi or the grill, don't have a load of grease proof showing because it'll just pick it up and fold it over your cake and you'll end up with a mess. I'm actually very happy with how good that... Do you know what I haven't added? Oh my god. It's surprising because it still tastes like the mixed spice cake because of the festive thing. But it does still need a little bit of mixed spice. Maybe not all that the recipe calls for. I'm not doing a very good job here. Making mixed spice cake. Forget to add the thing that makes it mixed spice. It's a good job I did add the festive thing because it tastes of as if it's got at least a teaspoon of mixed spice in. But let's add a little bit more. Let's make it a bit darker. Sue, I'm blaming you there because you didn't pick up on that. Right, let's see if this is even more spice now. John, and it's got a really nice tang from the lemon juice as well. You're welcome, Sue. You're welcome. Okay. So as I said, I'm going to grease the grease proof on the off chance that I picked the wrong one. If you don't see any photos of this cake, you know I picked the wrong one and it was unsavable, if that's a word. Alright. We should be good. We should be safe. I've greased the paper. As you can see, it's fairly low down apart from that part. Alright. Let's double check. Almond butter. Yes, kind of. Eggs. Dates, no, replaced with cooking apples and festive jam. Chia seeds, yes. Bicarb, yes. Mixed spice, yes. Trivia / Navia / Purevia sweetener, yes. Lemon juice, yes. Right, we have everything. Finally. In it goes. As you can see, it's quite a runny mix. I think it takes quite a while. I don't know, 20 to 25 minutes. I thought it took longer. Basically, you want it to be baked until it gets kind of like a little crust on top. And it will be slightly firm, but I wouldn't recommend doing the knife trick. You know, if you stick a knife in and it comes out clean, because this is a very dense cake. It's a very gooey cake, so you might not get the results you think you need with that. And it will sink down a little bit in the middle once you take it out and it starts to cool. Perfectly fine. Right, cake's going in. Am I done? So I'll leave it. It's got 23 minutes on the clock there. I'll leave it at that. Let's add the rest of this apple puree. If I can find the lid. Hi Karen. No worries. I'm almost done now. I'm just packing up. Right, yes, the rest of the apple puree can go away. It's not got anything in it at the moment, but I might just freeze it down and we can use it in a crumble later on. It smells great though. Just cooked down apples. Okay, there we go. So that was the sort of texture that they went in. I just blitzed them down a little bit further because you can see the lumps that are still there, but they're nice and golden. Yeah, nice with yogurt and granola. Yeah, that's what I'd normally serve this with. I prefer the yogurt with it. Okay, so we know, hopefully, the mix looked pretty good. So we know it works with homemade nut butter and with cooked apples and fruit instead of dates. So that will reduce the carbs a little bit more if you're wanting to do so. With the dates, it works out about 5 grams of carbs per portion. I reckon it'll probably go down to about 3 and a bit with the cooked fruit. So, pretty decent. Okay, I'm going to let you know how that gets on. I'll post a photo later on, and I will update the recipe if this does work, because it's always nice to have alternatives. And the next live is actually couch time on Wednesday, 7:30. It's Q&A with Richard. Oh, sorry, Dan, I should have specified. So apples, these were cooking apples, so they're a lot lower than your standard apple. You wouldn't eat these. They're way too sour or tart, whatever you want to call them. They're about 4 to 8 grams of carbs per 100. And we used 70 grams of cooked fruit in total, and that includes half of it was the festive mix, which is actually part courgette. So it's a lot lower than dates. I would still class it as a low carb cake, not a keto cake for that reason though. But yeah, there you go. Couch time live 7:30 on Wednesday, and then the next cooking live is Thursday. That's going to be doing hoisin pork. So there's a hoisin sauce on the recipe library, and a video actually coming soon. I've just got it back, so it'll be posted in the next couple of weeks. And we're going to have that with egg fried rice, which is also in the recipe library. So that's Thursday. Q&A with me and Dad on Friday, 6:30. And then Sunday, I'm live with Tracy, and we're making, crackers and mug cakes. I think so. So there we go. That's the week ahead. So thank you very much for watching. I'll post photos later if the cake turns out all right. And I'll see you on Thursday. Goodbye.